something don't feel right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, doing a green screen background?
Well, no, I normally have a green screen background, but I'm not used to shit disappearing. So,
Oh, there are settings to do that. I There's something in the green screen somewhere to control that. I just don't remember where it's at.
yeah, this is kind of a one-off thing. So,
No, but I'm forever doing it because that's my primary. And I have a new background today.
I know I was going to ask you about that when we went on to everything.
I'll give you a little preview.
Hey, if you would keep talking for me so I can hear what I'm about to turn the sound on my iPad.
All right, just make sure that I'm not hearing myself because that'll really mess with me. Oh, oh yeah. I got my new 3D printer I've been playing with.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask you about that. You weren't here last week. That's why I.
Yeah, I was sick last week.
Yeah, yeah. It is that season though, so that happens.
I've been having my fun, printing my little figures.
There you go.
And oh, where did I put him? He's gonna be kind of hard to see.
Is that you as a wizard?
It's a little dwarf gnome wizard guy.
That is awesome.
I found him and I went, oh, I'm printing that.
All right, so I've got all of our chats up. I can see everything. So
and I bought it and I built it.
Oh, is that the Lego Game Boy?
Damn right it is.
I was wondering how that would look. And mind you, we have Legos. Fireball has Legos, and we have like 2 or 3 projects with Legos in the background that life gets so quick and so fast paced that we're gonna have to get to them here soon.
Well, in my defense, I've still got my OG Game Boy.
I know that. I know you would not get rid of that.
This is the Game Boy that I got 30 years ago. It is sun yellowed. As a kid, I took Sharpie and drew all over it. Hey, I like the accents. I may have done better without doing that, but the rest of it's fine. But to give it comparison, they're damn near identical in size.
Yeah, not bad at all. Hey, we got all kinds of people joining over in TikTok Live. Your bro, I just want to say hi. Thank you for joining us. That you are at that Red 96. Thank you for joining as well. This is the pre-production before we go live. Hey, that's Zelda. We're talking about Zelda today.
Yes, we are. Well, this is actually the Lego cartridge one.
Wow. Okay.
And it literally just slots in there and locks in, and
that is amazing. Philkin, thank you for joining.
This is always the kind of stuff that I always envisioned the pre-show being, is just us shooting the breeze, maybe things that don't necessarily fit into the show, but if we ever get to a point where we're putting it out in, say, a podcast form, or we have subscribers that do like Patreon and they pay, this is the kind of stuff that they would get as bonus content that would not necessarily be included in the official show. But it's kind of nice to get used to building that library of stuff, because people can give their opinions. They can tell us what they like, what they don't like.
Yep. Yep. And it's also awesome because then I can show this to Fireball and this can, because we're always evolving around here.
Right. And the
And
only way we get better is to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, what doesn't stick, and practice our craft ourselves.
yeah, I found a whole bunch of footage from the Nomad Gamers when we first launched almost 2 years ago. And to see the huge improvement from then to now, and mind you, we still don't know everything. We're still not quote unquote experts at our craft, but we are so much better than what we were at episode 2 or 3. I mean, I think we're at, for Nomad Gamers altogether, I think we're up into, I'd have to go back and count, but 200, 250, something like that.
So, just for giggles, I moved my webcam a little bit, just so I wasn't sitting quite so high in the frame. Look what popped up.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, there. That'll be a little better. I'll sit off to the side of my own podcast.
Well, all I got is one of Discord's free backgrounds. Uh, I did not want to mess with any of the settings for the actual podcast, so I just decided to go with this instead of one of my stock uh, backgrounds. So I don't know. It kind of looks like a futuristic city, or I don't, a city on another planet where it's all purple.
Yep, I've got the same one too. Just for reference, I did post this screenshot, which I will explain where it comes when we start the show proper. This particular screenshot has been posted into the general channel of our Discord, as I try and do every time I set one. You know me, I like to have a different background every week.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully soon, and it won't be within the next year at least. But I'm hoping that uh, revision 2.0 to the studio, the local studio, will have a built-in green screen to where we can have stuff up in the background. But we have got a ton of stuff before then, before we get to that. So
I mean, I've got a green sheet that I bought and I hang from my ceiling every week before we start the show. And then when I built my new desk, now it's like right up against the back of my chair. So every time I move it it's not perfect, but it works.
see that?
Yep, I got the same thing. Only the thing is my curtain's not really wide enough, so it kind of cuts off right here. You can kind of see the edge of it right there.
Yep.
I need to get like more going over.
This one back here works phenomenal. I'm extremely happy with it. The only couple things that I've learned this winter is the heater sits behind us. So as I'm sitting here gaming or doing Talking Tuesday or Thirsty Thursday, it gets chilly over here. So I put a space heater down by my feet, down this way. And the funniest thing happened last night. Minerva was doing her thing, and she just happened to finally notice that there was a heater down there. She takes her nose up there and she starts sniffing on it, figures out that it's warm, and then goes to do that cat, where they brushed her face up against it. Yeah, that was a little too warm for her. She jumped back.
Figured out it was really hot.
Yeah.
See, I don't have that problem because you're in the Shire. You've got a big open space. I'm in my bedroom, which is, it's smaller space, but I have a gaming computer right there and a gaming computer down there. I don't need a heater.
Yeah, out here we have it on the other side of the green screen. This summer, though, here in the next couple weeks, when Old Man Winter finally passes and gets out of here, the air conditioner sits just on the other side of my TV. So the cool air, I'm not going to have anything to worry about. So
Summer.
yeah, yeah, we got to get old man winter the hell up out of here before we get
While
cold.
I'm under another winter weather advisory for another 3 to 6 inches of snow.
Yeah, around here it went from like 60 something to 20 something. I was like, what the hell is
we
this?
hit.
Wow.
So we had a 4 day weekend. So we had Friday off and Monday off from school. Tuesday we went to school. It was 40 degrees.
Yep.
Wednesday we had a snow day because Tuesday night it dropped down to below freezing and it just started hammering. Like it was sitting at 28, 29 degrees, but everything that was coming down was wet, heavy snow. And we got like 18 inches of it overnight.
Yeah, I was watching the Weather Channel for something here, and I seen the reporting for up there, and I went, "Ooh, I bet Zanar is just hating life right now."
Oh
So,
no, it was great.
all right, so we are going to get started now. For everybody online or everybody who is watching us now, we've got quite a few that are watching. Uh, I want to welcome you to the Nomad Gamers podcast, where every Saturday at 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, my co-host Zanar Crustrider and Fireball, who is not with us today, we get together and we talk about the gaming industry, gaming news, and we report on our favorite games or the games that we play all the time. So if you are watching us over on, oh, I forgot to do that. I'll do it here in a minute. If you're watching us over on Facebook on the home of the Nomad Gamers, we want to say thank you. We want to ask you if you would please hit that follow button. We are so close to hitting our goal of 100 followers to where we can go live every Saturday from our own stuff instead of piggybacking off of my social medias. Uh, we're close to it. You got to give me a second, real quick. I'm trying to share this, uh, and I did it wrong. But anyways, we're getting very close. We are right there. I can't do two things at once, obviously. I had 10 minutes to do this. I didn't remember until now. So if you're watching us over on Facebook, please hit the follow button. Turn on your notifications. That way, every time that we come live at you, you are being notified. Over on Facebook right now, we have got 92 followers. We are 8 short. That's it, just 8. After we get that 8, we are independent and we are running. If you are watching us over on YouTube, thank you very much. You have found our channel. What I need you to do is somewhere right down here, you're going to see a subscribe button. Somewhere in between Zanar Crest Rider and myself, you're going to see a thumbs up and a heart button. At least I believe so. What I need you to do is I need you to smash all 3 of those, turn on your notifications, and that way, every time that I come live at you with any of my live games or Talking Tuesday, Thirsty Thursday, or the Nomad Gamers as a whole comes at you with something, you are being notified. Now, if you are watching on any of my personal social medias, because we're piggybacking off of my stuff, that means TikTok. I want to thank the 10 viewers that are watching right now. You guys are amazing. Please be kind. Hit that like button. It's free. That's all it is. It's free. Just click, done. If you're watching us over on Twitch or Kick, I want to say thank you very much. Also, hit that follow button. I don't think you guys understand how much that means to us. It is an amazing thing. It helps us out greatly. It helps us bring this content to you. All right, I believe I've got everything done. Fireball will not be joining us today. He had some family issues that he had to take care of. So we miss him, but he'll be back with us again next week where I will relocate back to where I normally am on Saturdays. But today, uh, I'm in my cockpit. I'm where I have Talking Tuesday and Thirsty Thursday. So therefore, I can see a lot better. I have all my tools here for once, Crest Rider. So, all right, let's get into it, shall we? Uh, Phil Spencer over at Xbox has announced his retirement after 40 years. Uh, Phil walked into Xbox or Microsoft at that time back in 1988, and as an intern, and he climbed the ropes, he climbed the ladder to get to where he is at now. And I'll tell you what, there is nothing about Xbox games in the last 40 years that Phil has not had his hand in. He was also the architect for uh, where Xbox has been going here in the last, I don't know what, 3 years now, since they launched Xbox Live, and they went more towards a software instead of the traditional console.
More where it doesn't matter where you play it as long as it's Xbox.
Yeah. So the Sarah Bond was widely expected to take over the reins as uh, his replacement, but she resigned instead, completely resigned from the company. So I don't know what exactly is going on over at Xbox. However, the more I dug into this, the more interesting this got. The and this is really going to make Fireball very, very happy. And I can say with all certainty, we're not going to talk about AI in big time depth today. But the individual who is coming in, and I'm not going to read this whole article, is not what this is about. But Spencer's position as Microsoft Gaming CEO will be taken over by Asha Shamara. I think that's how you say that name. Sharma for her last name. She has an impressive resume when it comes to things that she has led. Uh, let me see if I can find it real quick. Well, that doesn't really matter too much. What she said though is, oh wait, she served as chief operating officer at Instacart and a vice president of product and engineering at Meta. So she has the knowledge and the capability to take Microsoft Xbox to the next level, into the next generation. And while she was writing her memo to the employees, she said, they will not chase short term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. With that being said, I think they made the right choice here. I really do. But talk is cheap, actions speak louder.
I
So,
have my reservations of her taking over, but everybody deserves a fair shake until they prove they can or can't handle it.
exactly. And like I said, her resume, it looks like she can handle it pretty good. Uh,
With everything going on with AI, having somebody who was CEO of an AI focused thing coming in and taking over, that does give some hesitation just as a reaction on my part. But I'm willing to give her a shot and see what she can do. The only thing I care about at the end of the day is that company remembers where their money comes from.
Yep.
Companies need to make money. Great. Go make your money. But do it by providing things that your consumers want. Don't just shove a bunch of garbage down their throats and be like, you're going to pay for this.
Yeah, that's how you lose people. And the next, how I found this is I was out there looking for what was going on in the gaming industry. It's been kind of slow this week. And I ran across an article saying that Xbox was recommitting or doubling down on its console. And I went, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like what Xbox has been doing. Because here, I don't know, the last 6 to 8 months, they've been jettisoning some of their most famous exclusive IPs to PlayStation and to the Nintendo Switch too, or Nintendo Switch, I should say. But I was like, this don't make any sense at all. And then as soon as I put that onto our show notes and I went down, wasn't even an inch. There it was. Phil Spencer retiring, so and so taking over. So I read that article and everything started making sense. It started clicking.
And
And
that's going to cause the priorities to shift. Yep.
Yep. And I was like, there you go. Because I agree with, and by the way, for everyone out there who is watching right now, please tell us in the comments if you agree with us or if you disagree with us. We would be more than happy to stop and to answer any questions or take into account what you have to say. But I was like, I thought they'd be doing such a wonderful job with just publishing content and then pushing said content to Steam, to their own Xbox, and to PlayStation. While I am not a Halo fan, I don't play Halo, never have. I've watched Fireball play it. It doesn't really trip my trigger. I thought them giving PlayStation an IP for it, I thought that was decent. For them to give an IP port to Nintendo for Fallout 4, I was like, they are now implementing, I'm sorry, their plan to be more of a software, more of a just a game publisher than, the console. And by the way, I know Nintendo doesn't have the power of Xbox and PlayStation or a PC, but my God, Fallout looks horrible on a Nintendo. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I have not. I was looking at the eShop for reasons that I will get to. And I did see that it was on there, the anniversary edition as a pre-purchase.
Yeah. Well, it launched. I seen a screenshot and I went,
I don't think it's launched yet. I think it was still as a pre-purchase.
hmm.
I could be mistaken.
I could have
And while we are talking, I will double check. But I could have swore that it was coming soon.
the 24th. So no, it hasn't. It hasn't launched yet. It might have been. It might have been hyping it.
Oh yeah, it comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah, I seen. I seen like two screenshots, so I thought it came out. Must not have, but it looks horrible. But then I looked. I got to thinking after talking Tuesday, or yeah, it was talking Tuesday. I got to thinking after that. Nintendo doesn't have the power of the other platforms. So
I don't know. She don't look half bad on this.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why this one looks so horrible. So
Because you're used to PS5 and PC level graphics.
yeah, you're probably right on that. And
If you go back and look at what the Xbox One or the yeah the One S, the One X, and the PS4, what they were capable of bringing to the party is pretty well on par.
yeah,
Maybe a little. And is it going to be a Switch 1 version or is it Switch 2 only? I would assume probably Switch 2 only because that's where you're getting the power bump up to at least equivalent of a PS4.
yeah, I would think so because if the original Switch could handle it, they would have dropped it.
Long time ago.
Yeah, they would have dropped it a long time ago. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Switch 2 only title.
yeah, I'm pretty sure as well. And I still have yet to buy a Switch 2, and I don't think I am. Only because there's really nothing that
I
catches my trigger.
I have an argument on that coming, but we'll get to it.
But you know what, though, Crush Rider, to each their own. You know what I'm saying? Uh, not everybody has an Xbox, a PlayStation, PC. You know, not saying any of us do, because God knows none of us do. None of us have everything, but we're pretty close. Uh,
And between all of us, we have everything.
oh God, yeah. If we want to see something, if we want to see something, we're gonna see it. Let's see. Going back to Xbox, though, they are recommitting. Uh, the new CEO, she sent out that memo to Xbox, to the employees as an internal memo, and I'm just going to read off the bullet points, and we could talk about those. Recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, while also entering new categories and markets where we can add real value. Move with an urgency because gaming is in a period of rapid change, but also not chase short term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, yet simultaneously expand across PC, mobile, and cloud. And break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players everywhere without compromise. Return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place, while Microsoft is worth some $3 trillion. Now, there's a lot to break down in those points. I like the fire that she is coming out with. And I believe you can as well there, Crush Rider. I don't know. I don't know if I could trust this.
All I hear is let's recommit to our console at a time where nobody can get parts for a console.
Yeah, we're in RAM apocalypse. Like
And Valve actually finally had to come out and admit that their Steam Deck was out of stock because they can't get parts anymore.
Yeah, in fact, that was one of our talking points in there. I seen it. I couldn't click on it to read it. Something was messed up with it, but it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's just like everybody else,
Yeah,
your RAM, your hard drive, even the graphics cards to an extent, everything's been claimed by these data centers, and or at least the manufacturing power of the various companies that produce these parts has been assigned to parts for data centers.
exactly. And right now, all of us gamers, all of us uh, individuals who like to do stuff on the PC or a console, whether that be gaming or watching TV or watching Netflix or whatever you're doing on it, uh, it's almost hold what you got, because trying to replace something is going to get really expensive, and it's going to get really tricky to find something that is comparable to what you had before this problem started.
Makes me glad that I got a new computer just not that long ago.
Yeah, yeah, you and me both. You and me both. Uh, Here is another little clip from this that I found kind of interesting. Perhaps there's a hint here that Microsoft is ready to jettison its all it's all in on Game Pass strategy now that it's abundantly clear the service will never pull in the tens of millions of anticipated subscribers, and that it might have even cannibalized sales of the games Microsoft spent billions of dollars to acquire.
So they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that when they kept cranking up the price and limiting what you were getting for it. When it first came out, it was great, and if it had kept going, they'd have kept pulling people in.
Yeah.
But then they started getting greedy on it and wanting more money and more money, while at the same time limiting what they were giving you. And after they cranked it up to $30 a month for their top end and cutting off what you could get out of it,
People
they
jettisoned.
Yeah, they lost what? A third of their player base in a week?
Me as well. I said, F that, and I took off.
Now, there is one thing and one thing alone that I am really kind of jonesing for when it comes to Xbox, and that is the Rare Replay. The uh, collection of Rare games, because, Microsoft owns Rare.
Yep.
And on the Xbox One, they put out the collection of games. They call it the Rare Replay. But it has Jet Force Gemini, Banjo Kazooie, Perfect Dark, all of those games. And I just want me some Baron Bird.
Wasn't it ironic? And I don't even have a word for it, but the gamers are clamoring for certain games. They're clamoring for certain stuff. The 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 developers are always saying we want to give the gamers what they want. And all the games that you just said, every one of them, if they were to bring them out,
Put them on Steam. I'll buy them in the next 5 minutes if they have showed up.
that's what you just said is what I have been literally chirping about for almost 6 months now. These developers could be printing their own money if they would just listen to the gamer. If they would just listen to their customers, their investors would be very, very happy because we would make their investors very, very rich. But I don't think they're making that connection yet.
I don't think they necessarily are, but it does bring us to another talking point if you're ready to move on.
Oh God, yeah. I'm always ready to move on.
Nintendo is reaching into their very deep bag of games that they just threw in the vault and forgot about. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. A couple days ago, I woke up to just the internet blowing up, and holy crap, what's going on? So I looked in at like 2 a.m. my time. Now I'm in Eastern time zone. Nintendo announces that on February 27th, on Pokemon Day, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green will be released for the Nintendo Switch. Not the Switch 2. Comes out for the Switch, so both consoles can play it. The games are coming out in the same condition that they were when they were on the Game Boy Advance, which means that there are multiple versions based off the language that you wanted, because back in those days, you couldn't just do a language selector and move on. The games didn't have enough memory to store localizations for multiple areas. They're $20 a piece, which people are griping about the price, but the red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal virtual consoles for the 3DS that came out 10 years ago, they were $9.99. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $14. So, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but that's not a major difference between the two. And we're also talking, Game Boy Advance games versus original Game Boy games.
Exactly. Yep.
They're bigger, they got more features. Yes, they are remakes, but they were remakes when they first came out of something that had happened 10 years before. And now, yeah, I am very excited to see these. And people are throwing fits either way, where they're like, well, why isn't it just on Nintendo Switch Online where I could just play it for free? Because they already have the Nintendo Switch Online. And I'm sitting here cheering that finally I have something that if I let my Nintendo Switch Online go, I'm not going to lose.
Yeah. Yep.
So I pre-ordered those immediately. They are already downloaded onto my console, just waiting for Nintendo to flip that switch and unlock them. And they will unlock as soon as Nintendo finishes their Pokemon Day Presents on February 27th.
Ooh, that's not too long from now.
No, it's on Friday.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, they're doing a lot. Nintendo is busy right now. Nintendo is being very, very proactive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is just one topic that we have on Nintendo for today.
And
The next one we're saving for last because we always save the best for last.
And we don't even know what else Nintendo is going to bring to the table for the Pokemon anniversary, because this is a big anniversary. This is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon's release in Japan.
Yep.
And yes, we're in the United States and we didn't get it for almost 3 years. But or it was 2 years later, because it was in 98, September of 98, when Red and Blue came out. So we're a little bit off on the actual date, but again, this is the day that started everything, the 30-year anniversary. So definitely looking forward to seeing what they have to announce. There's a lot of speculation going on, but I'm just going to wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's going on in the world of Warcraft?
Well, we got a few things that happened. Obviously, I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't report on anything.
Yeah. We saw some news, but we decided to wait until our subject matter expert came back to us, and then we'd let you say whatever you had to say about it.
So Blizzard finally started unveiling their Hearthsteel, which is the currency that you are purchasing with real money, in the same vein as Microsoft points on the Xbox.
Okay.
The conversion rate is $1 for 100 Hearthsteel. And then you're using that to purchase decor for your housing. They also launched it with 2 pieces of decor. There is a lion plushie and a wolf plushie. So, one horde, one alliance themed stuffed animals that you can purchase. They're 100 Hearthsteel a piece, but they also put in a bundle that is 4 of each for 500. So they had a discount bundle that you could get. So you spend $5, you get 8 plushies to throw in. And yes, it is spending real money, but at the same time, it is an optional thing. Nobody's sitting there saying that you have to buy it. It is also one of Blizzard's ways, and this is the big thing that I look at. This is how Blizzard makes their money while not raising the subscription that has been the same since the game launched. In fact, I pay less now per month because I pay yearly than I did when I first started playing because I paid monthly. It was $14.99 a month when I started playing. It's still $14.99 a month. But because I pay yearly, I'm down to $12.99 a month. So they're getting even less money out of me because I cough it up front. But considering they're the bulk of my entertainment, I enjoy the opportunities to help keep the game going and get something out of it that I like. The other bit of World of Warcraft news I have is the early access for World of Warcraft Midnight expansion launches on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. That will give players who have purchased the Epic Edition, or was it Hero Edition? I don't know, the top tier edition of the game. What used to be the Digital Collector's Edition. That'll grant them access to the game, or to the expansion. They can start leveling their character. The Haramir allied race will not be available. Blizzard has already stated that will not be available in the early access period. So you're not going to be able to unlock and start leveling that yet. But you can go through and experience the storyline. There's a reason that they actually came out and said it.
Oh yeah.
When the previous expansion launched, they had alluded to in all of their stuff that the Earthen allied race that they added in the last expansion would be available during the early access. So people like me raced through and did all the requirements, and nope, because some of the requirements were time gated. And Blizzard didn't say anything about it until after, and then they tried to play it off saying, we didn't say that, when all of their infographics showed at the same time as early access that they'd be available. And yeah, they got a lot of shit for that one. So they actually came out clear this time going, yeah, that's not going to happen. But it's still a good chance to get in there. And it's people have mixed feelings because they're like, oh, they're just using it to drive the sales of their high end thing, which, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely doing. They threw it in there as an enticement to get you to buy the bigger version. But it also has a benefit of staggering the player base. So we're not, and you remember this, guys, from your playing days. The first day of an expansion, you walk into the new zone, what happens? You can't do anything because every player on that server is all in this one zone. It's lagged to all hell. All the mobs are dead because as soon as they spawn, they get jumped by 18 people, instantly die, and one guy got quest credit for it.
Yep.
So by doing this early access, now they've got a chance of getting people to stagger in there.
Or if you're on a PvP server, you jump into that starting point that both factions are, that's their starting point, and you jump in and you look around and there's just bones everywhere. And I'm not talking little bones. I'm talking as high as your character. And your stomach,
because they would stack up at that time.
Yeah, because your stomach would drop because you knew exactly what was about to happen. And as soon as you started getting all your protections up and started throwing stuff to get ready for a battle, there's 3 of them on you, and you're down. You're dead.
Yep. If you were Horde, it'd be 3 gnome rogues would just appear out of the pile, and you'd keel over. And if you were Alliance, it'd be 3 undead rogues.
Yeah. And
then the 2 groups of rogues would run into each other, and they'd start calling for help, and then you'd end up with this wide-scale world battle.
Yep.
Which didn't really happen anymore, except at the very beginning of the expansions on PvP servers.
Yeah. And then, people who did not want to go back and retrieve their body and was like, all right, I'll do some res sickness for, what is it, like 5 minutes for the first one, something like that?
After level 20, it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay, 10 minutes. If you could take that res sickness for 10 minutes, the ones who didn't care to go back there, because just like Crest Rider was saying, you would have people getting called for help. Before you knew it, it was a big battle brewing right there. It was just both sides clashing, and it always reminds me of like the old Charlie Brown shows where they get into a fight and there's this dust cloud, and one person comes up, sticks their head up, you see a hand come up and bring them back down, and it just keeps going. I was never for that. I would just get killed, hit my res, and I'd go off and do whatever I had to go do and say, well, if they catch me outside of here, that's a different story. But back there, no, hell no. I'm not doing that.
See, and for the most part, now you have to opt into PvP or it doesn't work. It doesn't happen anymore. So it's a lot smoother on the leveling scene for stuff like that.
Yeah. That would have been so nice for Cataclysm.
Well, yeah, because you were all out in the old zones that you were all well aware of, and then you got funneled into one of 2 starting zones, and nobody liked, which I never understood because I thought it was just fine, but I know my brain's cross-wired, and the 3-dimensional thinking of Bashir didn't bother me in the least. But a lot of people didn't like Bashir, so they all went to Igel.
Yep. I don't remember where I went. I'm not going to sit here and try and act like I do, but because I don't. I remember an all underwater zone.
That was Bashir.
Yeah, I hated
that. That's the one that nobody liked.
God, I hated that zone. And I had to do it because I picked it. And
I didn't have any issues with it.
I think I picked it because at the time, Sweet Kitty Pie was playing, and I was deployed to Egypt at the time, but she had messaged me and said, do not go this route. because of the PvP issue. And I said, oh, okay, so I'll take the other route. Well, unbeknownst to me, that underwater zone sucked, and I should have went the other route and just took the res sickness and went out about my way, because what I really wanted to do, and I know I'm talking old school stuff, but it's okay. I wanted to get on my mount and fly around and see the changes to the world as a whole. And I couldn't do that either because, oh my God, yeah, PvP was just different back then than what it is now. Not saying that it was any more, what's the word, competitive then, because it's just as competitive now. It's just back then, if you're on a PvP server, you declared as soon as you joined the server. There was no white flag. There was none of that.
Yeah, it's all war mode now.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, you know what? I tip my hat to World of Warcraft. Them boys and gals, they are doing an amazing job over there. They really are. All right. Are we ready for our last one? And I teed it up, or actually you teed it up this way, but I'm glad you did because there's a lot to discuss here. Zelda. Zelda turns the big 4-0 this year. I don't remember. Good evening, Brian Burton. Thank you for watching. I don't remember the exact date that Zelda came out. I do know that it came out in 1986, so this marks year 44. And
Yep.
if you are an old school gamer, I guess now they would call this a retro game. God damn. Wow. But anyway.
Yeah, we're both getting old.
Yeah. But anyways, anytime you hear Zelda, the first thing I think of is the iconic music. And it's nothing that is.
Oh, that music is beautiful.
Oh my God. I can hear it like I'm playing it. And Zelda, the original, and even this says it. And it says it eloquently. And I didn't know this until today. Back in 86, you had what? The old Commodore for PC?
Maybe.
I think it was the Commodore, but it was oh my God, this thing was huge.
Personal computers weren't much of a thing in 1986.
No,
it was the early 90s when those really became a household thing.
Hey, Brian, thank you. A big fan of your work. We're a big fan of you too. Thank you very much. I know one thing. If you had a personal computer back in the 80s and the early 90s, you were viewed on the block as the rich kid. You just were. I remember the dial-up tone for AOL because that was a big thing in the late 90s.
Oh, that lasted well into the early 2000s.
Yeah, but I remember I remember when it was just coming out, just doing its thing. But back to what I was saying before is on PC, they had the open world RPG. But at that time for consoles, and you got to go back and you got to remember what games we're talking about here. We're talking about Contra. We're talking about Mario. We are talking about Double Dragon. We're talking about I can't even think of any of those retro games off the top of my head now.
I mean, the original Super Mario Brothers had only come out the year before.
Exactly. And like this said, is all of them, you couldn't see anything before the developer wanted you to see it. So you would come across the screen, you get over to here, and before you got into Crest Rider's screen, you had to defeat whatever was in my screen. Then mine would go away and his would appear. Zelda was the first console game that gave you an open world. You could do those dungeons in any order that you wanted to.
Well, theoretically. You needed tools from one dungeon to do the next, but there was nothing stopping you from entering it if you could get the entrance open.
Exactly. And I was sitting here reading this today, and I was like, there is no way. Absolutely no way. So I went back and did some more research, and I can't find another console game at that time that did what Zelda did. So they're right. They're right on the money. I did not know Zelda was the OG for open world RPG on the console. Didn't know it.
Well, and Legend of Zelda isn't technically an RPG. It's an action adventure game.
That too, and I misspoke there, but that's what led to the RPGs that we know today. I got going.
I honestly, I hope that Nintendo does a big celebration for it because they didn't really do anything for Mario last year, and that was kind of disappointing. And the last time that they played off a big celebration, it was the 30th or 35th anniversary for Zelda. That's when Mario did it, and then Zelda did it the following year, and Zelda kind of got shafted. They did this gigantic celebration for Mario and had all of this stuff come out. And for Zelda, they just kind of ignored it. It was you got some second rate stuff that wasn't. I hope this is a big one, and I would love to see some of their biggest and best titles get re-released. You know, I throw the OG one back out there just because, and I know it's available on Nintendo Switch Online. Same with most Zelda titles. Give us like the OG NES one. Throw out the Super Nintendo. A Link to the Past. Give us Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask from the Nintendo 64. Link's Awakening, I'm less concerned about. It was a fantastic Game Boy game, and it had a proper Switch remake already. Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons didn't, though, and those would be fantastic games to put back out.
So I'm trying to find something right now, and I can't find it. And this article really doesn't call them out per se, but a fan curated over 900 of the greatest games lists to create a master list of the top 100 best video games of all time. Zelda lands 3 titles in the top 10.
Doesn't surprise me.
According to
and those lists are always subjective.
Yeah. And that's why I said according to him, because if you were to sit me down and ask me my top 100 games or your top 100 games, they'd look completely different. And Zelda may or may not crack the top 10 in 3 of
depending on
one. Yeah.
Depending on the player's taste, it might not even crack the top 100.
Exactly. Now you take a player like Fireball, and I'm not saying anything negative against Fireball here, but he has a different take on the video game industry. He doesn't even know of the original Zelda. He knows about it, but he has never played it. He has never played Link. I believe he has played Ocarina of Time. So when it comes down to your list of 100, my list of 100, ours is going to look a hell of a lot different than somebody that was born in, say, 2000 to 2005, and then later on after that.
I'd love to see another one of these.
Yes. Yep.
I like my my Game and Watch. That one's got Link's Awakening on it. I spent a lot of time just chilling to the Ballad of the Windfish.
So his list of top 100, and in the top 10, I said he had 3 Zeldas in there. The results showed that Zelda Breath of the Wild Arcania of Time, and A Link to the Past in the top 10, with Breath of the Wild holding the number one position.
See, and that would very much be different for me because the Switch titles I just couldn't get into, and a lot of it was I don't mind the open world setting. That was interesting. I did not like the whole you don't get to keep a weapon because I like the OG Zelda formula. You do puzzles, you unlock things, you progress things, you move on. I didn't like the you just constantly need to be looking for new weapons because the one in your hand's going to break 3 mobs from now, and you got to have this gigantic arsenal of stuff if you're going to make it through a dungeon or something.
Now, here's something else I learned about Zelda today that I didn't know until now. And in thinking back, I still don't remember it. I remember bits and pieces, but my God, that's been a while back. You know, Zelda was the first title to on console to give you the ability to save.
That does not surprise me.
They're not the first in the video game industry to do that. There was another game on the PC that gave you that ability, but Zelda ranks number 2 on that list for one of the first two to allow a player to save, to where it no longer felt like an arcade title. It actually felt like a video game.
And that was back in the day when the memory was it was still RAM. They hadn't actually figured out how to write data permanently. It was random access memory, which meant it needed power to maintain its save. So if you look inside those cartridges, and it's the same thing with the Pokemon cartridges from the Game Boy, there's a little battery in there. And when that battery dies, so does your save.
Exactly. Yep. Your save is gone after that. Now, I think the reason why I don't remember that Zelda was one of the first to allow you to save is because while I played Zelda, I wasn't I wasn't playing Zelda as a fan of Zelda at that time. My fandom has grown for it, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, I wasn't too much of a fan. I was playing Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Techno Bowl, all those popular games around the 90 era. So I was mainly used to, the Windows and not saving, knowing that I couldn't save and I have to go back to the beginning.
That's because
go ahead.
That's because prior to this type of game coming out, it was games were like when they were created with arcades in mind.
Yes.
And the idea was to either you play until you die, in which case you throw another quarter in the machine, or you play, and if you are good enough, you can get to the end of the game, but that's only going to take you an hour, maybe 2, tops. But most games at the time, they were designed to kill you as quick as possible so you get replay value and, feed it quarters.
Now, let me ask you this question, Crusher, because I can only think of 3 franchises who've been able to do this effectively. And this is where I differ from the source material that I have found for Zelda. But what franchises have been able to reinvent themselves without losing themselves?
Well, obviously, Zelda did when it switched to open world.
Yep.
I would say Pokemon. Okay. You kind of got me stumped on that one because I'm not pulling up anything. Like one-off iterations I could see.
Yeah.
Because Pokemon did that with their Legends titles.
Yeah, multiple titles. I'll tell you what I think, because they've went through the test of time. They've went through the test of multiple generations of consoles. First on my list, would be Zelda. Duh. Second, Mario.
Mario has an ever evolving style.
But they never lose the essence of the original story of Mario. Now, it might be a little boring because it's the same damn story retold, but just from a different direction. But they've went from the pages to the 3D to today's uh, iteration
And
for everyone to keep enjoying Mario.
even when they go back to 2D game, side scrolling, they've still now got 3D graphics. The mechanics are ever evolving. Every game's got different power ups, different objectives. At the end of the day, you're still collecting coins, stomping on enemies' heads, trying to get to the flag.
And then I left the best one for last. And when I say this, Crush Rider is probably going to throw himself back in his chair and go, duh, I should have thought of this. But the OG in gaming, Final Fantasy.
That has always been because most of the games are not direct sequels. It has always left them free to change up the formula and do something different every time.
Under the main banner of Final Fantasy.
In that sense, that Dragon Quest would be much the same thing, because Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest are essentially two sides of the same coin. They're two different, two different franchises, but they have run so parallel in what they do that they're pretty well interchangeable.
Here's something else I didn't know. In this article, I'll tell you what, I did not realize how influential the entire Zelda series has been to not just Nintendo, but to the gaming industry overarching. Orcania of Time's Z targeting system, and I know I'm saying that wrong.
You have said it differently every time, and you have butchered it every time.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, I don't know who gave me the lead, but whatever. We're getting through it. Arcadia. Anyway, Ocarina. Z targeting system became the blueprint for nearly every 3D action game after
it was one of the first to do a lock-on.
Yeah. And when I read this, I got to thinking, what about Star Fox? So I looked it up. No, they're on the money still. They are still, even when I go, what about this game? No. Every time that little statement reads true.
I will not staunchly sit there and say they were the first, because I don't have proof that they were the first, but they were definitely one of the very early adopters. It was not a normal thing to have back in those days. Nowadays, every other game that comes out, oh yeah, you can lock on and focus on an enemy, if only for the sake of now your camera is going to stay pointing at them while you're moving around.
Yep. And I'm not saying that they were the OG of it. What I'm saying, though, is every game that I go, no way, I go back and I compare, it still leads me right back to Zelda. And I'm like, well, what the hell? So I guess here's what I'm telling our audience. If you know of a game that makes this statement inaccurate, please let me know or let us know, because I have been looking all over the place and I can't find one. I just can't. Breath of the Wild reintroduced gaming to the original Zelda's groundbreaking design philosophy. I have never played Breath of the Wild, so I cannot comment on this one.
I have. I'm trying to figure out what they mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I have never ran into a Zelda that did not feel like Zelda. So, I mean, I don't know. the artwork that I'm seeing, and I'll post this into the show, into our Discord chat, so you can see it here in a little bit. But I don't know what they mean by this because
I don't either.
I just don't. Which one is this? I'm just gonna say this: some of the most iconic scenes in gaming comes from Zelda. I said some of. I didn't say all. I said some of, because when you see some of their artwork, you go, "That's Zelda." Instantly.
Oh, they have very iconic artwork.
Yes. I said some of the most iconic artwork
Which
in
is
the game.
interesting, hey, because, you know, Legend of Zelda has gone through many different art styles over the years.
You damn right they have. Yes, sir. I don't know. I guess I am just floored that a game that came out 40 years ago, a game that honestly, I could sit here and tell you that I hear Zelda, Breath of the Wild's coming out. And I've been around Zelda so long that it doesn't even phase me. Oh, it is? Oh, okay, cool. And I keep going on about my way. But to look back at all the titles, look back how they have they have never lost their way. It's impressive. And they have probably one of the most loyal fan bases out there. I said one of because I'm never going to say this fan base is the most loyal, because you go through a plethora of games and they're going to fight you about that. But so they are one of.
I wasn't laughing at you. My cat's sitting outside my door just crying because she wants in.
I would say Minerva, she's over in my normal chair looking at me like, you normally do this in this chair. Why are you not here? And I'm kind of shocked she hasn't jumped in my lap yet, but whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, it is awesome sometimes when you're looking for the newest and greatest thing to be reminded of a franchise like Zelda and be able to take a trip down memory lane and go, and even when you're reading it, you can hear that music. And there's no words to the music. There's really not that much to it. But it goes over and over and over and over again.
Speak for yourself. You get that going on in an orchestral, it'll almost send chills down your spine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know because for the 25th anniversary, they did release an orchestral version of it. There was a medley of their songs, and some of them were just, they were good.
Yes. But back then in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, even mid 90s, the game's music was not complicated. And I can't think of one that was annoying. And maybe it was because I wasn't paying attention to that. I was more focused on the game and trying to beat it with my homeboys, but I don't know. It's something weird. All right. Well, that ends everything, at least on my list. Do you have anything else there, Mr. Crest Rider?
I did promise in our pre-show to show off and explain the background for this week. So, get a nice, lovely view. This is that's the entrance gate to the space here. This is a duel arena inside my house in World of Warcraft.
Okay.
My housing leveled up and I got some more budget for building spaces. And since I have turned my housing into a guild hall of sorts with my movie theater, my meeting room, and now a duel arena, This is getting unveiled to the guild later this week. So anyone who's watching, which none of the guildmates actually know I do this podcast, so probably none of them are getting spoiled on it early.
Oh, Crest Rider.
Hey, I know some people that I do a podcast and nobody's been like interested to be like, hey, let's go watch this idiot on camera for an hour.
Hey, well, yeah. Man.
But no, this is something that I built this week, and now it's my background for today. And next week I'll have something else like I usually do, and we'll go from there. But that's what that is. That's a horde themed gladiator arena. I found somebody online who had built their version of it, and I took their design and mimicked what I could out of it, added my own touch to things. There's a couple of things that I might change it, like some of those more for a horde theme rather than a smooth elf themed wood. Change that out a little bit, or I don't know, leave it there. But yeah, I'm rather pleased with how that came out, and there's a couple of things I'd like to add to it in the meantime. But
so House of Voids on TikTok says he makes me want to play WoW again. Yeah, that game, that it's an awesome game. It just is. It's like yeah, I can't even describe it because I think it's amazing. They've done very good work. So, all right, Crush Rider, you're up first, buddy. Here, let me there you go.
Like I said, midnight launch comes this week, so I'll probably be doing a lot of World of Warcraft, getting ready for that. The Pokemon game's coming on Friday, so Thursday midnight launches for me. Friday Pokemon comes out. So I mean, in the meantime, I'm playing a lot of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I have that on my Steam Deck. I've got it on my PC. Still playing Hytale. They just come out with a nice update to that, so I'm been exploring that and playing. Other than that, I'm just working, doing life. And that's about all I got for my update.
All right. I don't know if we lost TikTok or not, but we'll see. All right. So for me tonight, I'd say about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this podcast, our Sunday fun day is turning into Saturday fun night. I got something going on tomorrow, so I don't know how long it's going to take me to do that. So I wanted to bring you guys our Tales in Minecraft tonight because I don't know if I'll be playing tomorrow or not. If I do end up streaming tomorrow, it will be it'll be a little bit later. So just be looking at my social medias. I'll splash it. I'll let you guys know, and then we will go from there. Monday 7:30 is our normal nightly gaming. See what kind of trouble we get into in Los Santos, and then Tuesday is Talking Tuesday at 7:30. I invite you all to show up for it. So for my co-host, Mr. Zanar Crest Rider, and for the one co-host who is not here, that'd be Fireball 123D. I am Godfather, and I would love to thank you for watching the Gnomad Gamers today. I invite you to come back and watch all of our future productions. We're only getting bigger, only getting better. So until we see you all again, peace and love. Your Gnomad Gamers.